Most people believe that saving is the key to wealth. They cling to every dollar as if it were their last breath, convinced that accumulating wealth is a form of security. But this is a myth, a beautifully packaged lie created by the very system that thrives when you remain small, cautious, and submissive. The truth is much darker. Money is not meant to be hidden. They only grow when they move. The rich understand this. They do not clutch their money in fear. They use them like an army. Every dollar is a soldier sent to capture new territories, gain control, and ensure influence, while the poor lock away their money as a precious asset, mistakenly equating stagnation with safety. In fact, they only hold decay. Since childhood, you were taught to fear loss. Don't take risks. Play it safe. Save for a rainy day. They thought they were protecting you. But in reality, they taught you to be a servant, because the master sees losses differently. The master exploits losses. He knows that the game is won not by holding back, but by the first move. True wealth, true power. These are not rewards for the timid. They are earned through strategic aggression. Every great fortune was built by those who spent when others clenched their fists. Every empire was carved by a hand risking what it had for something greater. This is not new. Machiavelli noted this centuries ago. Power does not stem from fear. It comes from the ability to place resources where others see danger, and to seize territory when others hesitate. Ask yourself why billionaires invest millions in projects, campaigns, and connections when they could easily retreat into a life of comfort. They know that stagnation is death. They understand money. When an idol begins to rot, they realize that growth only exists in movement. If your capital is not working for you, it is working for someone else. Inflation drains your savings. Fear steals your future. While you hesitate, someone else is buying the freedom you are afraid to pursue. This is the truth that the rich do not speak aloud. Money hates stagnation. It thrives in motion. It multiplies through decisions, risks, and chaos. The average person saves to feel secure. The wealthy invest to gain control. When you see a wealthy person spending thousands to attend a masterclass or a private networking event, do not confuse this with wastefulness. It is an investment in positioning. It is a strategy. While an ordinary person celebrates saving a few rubles at the grocery store, unaware that their savings only provide temporary relief. The difference lies not only in pure capital, but in how they perceive the world. One sees money as leverage, another as something to protect. But what they won't tell you in school is that you can't defend yourself against power. You need to buy it. Every dollar spent is a vote for weakness or strength. Each transaction reveals the truth about who you are and what future you are building. Imagine, someone hands you $1, the sound of a coin. Most people use this money to upgrade their phone, buy clothes, or spend it on something fleeting. But this dollar could become the key to a skill, connection, or tool that would later bring $10,000. Most exchange strength for pleasure. They buy dopamine instead of direction. They invest in illusions rather than assets. And then they wonder why life doesn't change. The answer is cruel. Your life reflects the choices you make with your money. The rich understand this deeply. Money is not a trophy. It is a tool. And at the moment you start perceiving them as something valuable to protect rather than to use, you have already lost, because the game rewards courage. It rewards action. It punishes hesitation. No one pays you for saving. You are paid for reasonable risk, for moving when others freeze. You cannot build an empire relying on a savings account. You build it by taking steps that frighten you. But most people make one mistake. They do not understand the difference between expenses and investments. They think that any movement is the same. Spending for pleasure is weakness. Spending for growth is strength. The rich ask themselves one question before spending money. Will this make me more capable, more dominant, more in control in the long run? They are cold about it. They act surgically. Every dollar is a weapon. They use it to eliminate inefficiency, to buy speed, data, access. The poor, on the contrary, spend money to escape discomfort. They spend to feel like someone. And it's a trap. It's not the amount of money that matters, but how you direct it. And if you think this is about greed, you completely miss the point. It's about survival. The world rewards movement. It presses down on inertia. Opportunities are not patient. They do not wait. As soon as you freeze, you fall behind. This is what Machiavelli called the death of luck. The moment when the impulse leaves you because you were too afraid to act. Now look at yourself critically. How many opportunities did you miss because you didn't want to spend money? How many doors remained closed because you thought you couldn't afford it? The bitter truth is that you could not afford it. Every missed opportunity cost you time, and time is the most valuable currency you will ever lose. Every financial decision you make either strengthens your power or weakens it. Buying distractions is a vote for weakness. Investing in skills, tools, or connections is a vote for elevation. The poor think about prices, the rich think about expenses. A poor person says, "It's too expensive." A rich man asks, "What will it cost me if I don't do this?" This shift in thinking is the dividing line between those who rule and those who follow. This game is not for the cautious. It is for the calculating. You have been told that patience is a virtue, perhaps, but in a world of wealth, patience becomes a weapon only when used precisely. The strong do not wait to feel ready. They act. They act strategically. They understand that every lost second gives an advantage to someone else. Here is an unpleasant truth. If your money does not bring you power, then other people's money uses you. Your dollars sit idle in the bank, enriching institutions that lend them out for profit, paying you only crumbs. You think you are being smart. In reality, you are being drained. You think you are acting cautiously. In reality, you are being replaced. The world is unforgiving to those who hesitate. It feeds on them. The rules are strict, but they can be learned. Once you understand how the game works, everything will change. You will stop feeling guilty for taking risks. You will stop waiting for permission to move forward. You will begin to see thoughtless expenditures for what they are and strategic spending as the only path to success. Machiavelli said, "Fortune favors the bold, but moreover, luck favors the prepared, the calculated, those who act not out of despair but with precision." The gambler throws money into chaos. The strategist directs it with purpose. And this is the first law of true wealth. Know the difference, because when you understand it, every dollar becomes a decision. Every decision becomes a step, and each step leads you either to power or away from it. Now that you understand that movement is fundamental, let's develop this idea. The guiding principle is, spend money to increase opportunities. The poor spend money to feel better. The rich spend money to become better. This single difference separates mediocrity from mastery. Ultimately, your earning potential, your influence, your reach, it all comes down to what you can do. It's not about what you own or what you've accumulated, but about what you can produce, influence, and manage. So ask yourself, when you spend money, does it make you more dangerous in the market? Does this strengthen your skills, enhance your presence, deepen your influence, or merely feed your ego and dull your anxiety? A man who saves 100,000 and does nothing with it may consider himself smart today, but in reality, he is just preserving his limitations. Another man who uses the same 100,000 to learn a highly valuable skill, sales, negotiations, copywriting, investing, increases his worth. He transforms paper into lasting power. In a year, the second man will earn 10 times more, while the first will still be saving small change, praying for stability. The difference is that one played not to lose. The other played to win. In this world, skill is leverage, and leverage multiplies. The system does not reward effort. It rewards efficiency, and efficiency comes from opportunities, not from hope, not from diligence, but from opportunities. That is why the rich pay for speed. They invest in learning from winners. They spend money to be in places where wisdom is gathered, not scattered across YouTube ads and motivational cliches, because they understand time is a currency far more ruthless than money. Free information is a deception. You pay with years. Paid information provides access to compressed decades, access that accelerates, access that multiplies. The poor argue about spending $100 on a course, while the rich do not hesitate to spend $1,000 for a single conversation with a mentor who has already walked this path. And you know what? This one conversation changes everything. It changes perception. The right strategy reduces time loss. The rich buy results. The poor buy entertainment. I knew a man who refused to invest $200 in a course that would teach him freelancing. He said he couldn't afford it, so for 2 years he stumbled, guessed, and endured failures. Meanwhile, another person bought the course, applied it, and started earning $500 a month in just 90 days. What is the real price here? $200 or 2 years of your life. Being stingy with money makes you expensive in time. And time is something you can never get back. So every time you hesitate whether to invest in yourself, remember this. You are buying delay. You prolong your suffering. You voluntarily stay in place. Machiavelli would have laughed at such thinking. He would say, "Fortune favors those who move quickly, but not blindly, rather with clarity. Opportunities wither like overripe fruits. If you wait too long, what could have nourished your future will turn into regret." The bold act, while the wise spend to create the advantage needed before the next storm. So when you spend money, stop asking if it's good. Ask if it makes you more capable, more dangerous in your field. Because strength is not created in comfort. It is created in the honing of your skill, your consciousness, your stance. And speaking of stance, here is the next truth. The rich do not just develop abilities, they buy positioning. You may be the most talented person in the world, but if no one sees you, if you are not in the right circles, your talent goes unnoticed. The game is unfair. It rewards visibility. It rewards proximity. Therefore, the rich buy access. They navigate circles where deals are made before the public hears even a whisper. They know that standing next to power multiplies their own. It's not just about what you can do. It's about who knows you can do it. And it doesn't happen by chance. This happens because of money. I knew a man who paid $1,000 to attend a private event, organized by an elite circle of investors. Most people thought he was crazy, but at this event he met a business partner who helped him earn $500,000 in less than a year. It was not a waste. It wasn't even a bet. It was leverage. It was strategy. It was a purchase of access to the next level of the game. The poor think that $10,000 is too much to spend in a weekend. The rich consider $10,000 as nothing if it propels them 10 years ahead. This is the difference in perception. The poor wait for luck. The rich create it themselves. Ask yourself, where does your money go? Does it elevate your status? Does it expand your social circle? Or does it simply entertain and lull you? Are you buying power or just an illusion of success? Because power does not come from looking wealthy. It comes from recognition by the right people in the right places at the right time. None of this happens by chance. It is the result of a deliberate approach. Development requires money, but the return on it is multiplied. If you are not ready to pay to enter the rooms where influence reigns, you choose to stay outside. It's simple. The system cuts off the weak, setting a price for entry, not only in money, but in courage, sacrifices, and vision. Most people see doors as walls, but every door opens with the right key. This key can be money. It can be a reputation built on tireless value. It can be the courage to enter and offer what is needed in the room, but no door will open for someone who knocks hesitantly. Suppose you want to build a business. You have two paths. One is slow, lonely, full of guesses. The other is paying for mentorship. You buy your place at the table where there is already a plan. One path costs money, the other does too. In any case, you pay. The difference is what you get in return. The difference lies in how quickly you rise. The difference is whether you remain trapped or move into a realm where opportunities find you. This is what the wealthy understand. This is what the strong have always done. They didn't just work harder. They bought influence. They bought alliances. They brought themselves closer to power. Kings did not win wars with swords. They won through marriages, treaties, and gold. If you think this game is no longer relevant, you are already losing. It still exists. Now she looks like meetings in councils, mastermind groups, advisory boards, and investment funds. The same game, different pieces. Position multiplies your influence, but it requires sacrifice. This requires giving up the mindset of a poor person who says, "I'll wait until I'm ready," or can afford it. With such thinking, you'll never be able to afford it. You seize opportunities by acting before you feel ready. Readiness does not come from waiting. It comes from being in an environment that makes you grow. When you pay for the opportunity to be near greatness, you absorb it. You mimic its rhythm, its thinking, its expectations. You rise to the level of the room you are in. And this is a secret. Power is in closeness. Influence is in openness. Access is everything. So the question is not whether you can afford to enter the room. The question is whether you can afford to stay outside of it. Because if you are not in the room, your future is decided without you. Now that you understand the power of possibilities and positioning, it's time to learn the principle that scales everything: spending to gain leverage. Leverage is the engine behind every state, an invisible force that allows one person to do the work of 100 without sweating. But here's the thing. No one says that the lever always has a price. The poor avoid it. The rich buy it because they understand that the lever is not about effort, but about amplification. One right decision, one tool, one employee can multiply your productivity tenfold. The poor cling to their tasks like martyrs. The rich let go and create machines that work while they sleep. You won't be able to scale anything if you insist on doing everything yourself. It's a trap. That's how the system keeps you busy and poor. It teaches you to take pride in your struggles, confusing exhaustion with productivity. But real players don't rush into work. They organize, delegate, and systematize. Every time they spend $1 on leverage, whether hiring a team, automating a task, or building infrastructure, they buy time. And with that time, they create more wealth. This is the vicious circle. Spend to earn time. Use time to create. Use creation to earn. Use earnings to buy more leverage. And so on until the system works without you. I knew a man named Elias who started a small online business. At first, he did everything himself. Design, marketing, customer service, order fulfillment. He was exhausted. Yes, he earned, but just enough to make ends meet. One day, he spent $300 to hire a virtual assistant. Just one action. This single decision doubled his income in just a few weeks. Why? Because now he could focus on sales instead of sending emails. He could concentrate on scaling rather than scheduling. He spent money, but what he bought was momentum. This is what a lever is. This is the difference between being busy and being influential. The poor will laugh. Why pay someone for what you can do yourself? But this is the question of a person trapped, thinking like a worker, not like a leader. Because when you get stuck in tasks worth $10 an hour, you'll never reach 10,000. The rich understand the math. If you earn $100 an hour but spend time on tasks worth $15 an hour, you're not saving. You're losing value. Every hour spent on low-level work is an hour stolen from your empire. The lever solves this problem. It frees your mind, allowing you to work in your zone of strength, not in your zone of competence. Machiavelli would call this delegating with dominance. A wise ruler never fights himself when he can hire someone for the job. The king does not dig trenches. He builds a chain of command. This is how modern elites act. They do not chase tasks. They seek multipliers. They create systems where others realize their vision, where code governs client experience, where automation brings value while they sleep. This is what leverage is. This is what freedom is. And freedom is not a feeling. It is a structure built brick by brick with every dollar spent strategically.